I close my eyes and dream of you and me. And tomorrow's when I dream again, and in my dreams I'd see we fly away to a wondrous brand new day, and we'll sail up there so high we could touch the
Good morning, this is Doc again. Welcome to Rise Above the Noise. And this morning we are going to follow up to the project that we spoke about last week in Do You Know Who You Are? And today get into a little bit more of the meat of it regarding some things that can help you find out and identify who you are. And so the first thing I want to elaborate on with you is power. There is power in knowing who you are. There is power in being confident about what you're capable of doing. And there is power in relating to people who have the same vision for their life. Maybe not the same way of getting there, but the same vision for their life as you do. So I'm going to give you some points this morning that are going to help you, in my opinion, dive into those things, help you become more successful, and at the same time give you an idea of who and what you are and what you're capable of becoming. The first one is don't ever judge your opponent or yourself by your intentions, but always evaluate it by how effective you are. It is so important that we realize that, listen, everyone has intentions, including yourself. But what's most important is, are you capable of fulfilling the things that you intend to do? Whether that's an enemy, if you give them too much credit, then they've got more success than what they've really earned. If you give yourself too little credit, then you don't have enough ability to feel good about where you are and what you're capable of doing. The second is, are you your own worst enemy? Do you set up or sabotage yourself indirectly? Do you position yourself to be defeated because you're not confident in what you're capable of and you need an excuse to get out of it? Or is it that you just don't know who you are? And if that's the case, here's one of the things I'd like to challenge you to do. First, I'd like to challenge you to admit who you really are. Are you your own worst problem? And if you are, why? The second is, do you want change? Do you really want to have change in your life? Are you willing to leave behind the things that are holding you down for you to progress and move to a higher level? The next is learn how to assess yourself in words that aren't condemning, but allow you to embrace yourself for being human. One of the biggest problems I believe we have in society is that we don't give ourselves the ability to be human on certain levels. And in other aspects of society, we give too many excuses about our humanity and the things that we do. Which one are you? Are you the person that says, listen, I can make it in spite of what's going on around me, and I know that I hold my future by the decisions that I make? Or are you the person that says, I think I can make it, but you need the affirmation of someone else, and without that affirmation, you begin to be lost? What I'd like to challenge you this morning to do is take the time to accept you. If you are a person that doesn't communicate well, listen, you can always change. I myself have not always been someone who liked to communicate. I was very shy, didn't like being around people, and I still don't like being around a lot of people. But what I've learned to accept is that my life is greater than what I desire. And so that requires you and I to be more advanced in how we do things. And I'll give you a quick story that was given to me to kind of give you the idea about how to overcome. There's a story that says the way to get over one fear is to have a fear that's greater than that fear. And that analogy for me took this perspective. I'm afraid of heights. Now, don't judge me for that and don't laugh at me for that, but I'm afraid of heights, and that is a great fear for me. But what would help me get over that fear is if one of my children were on a 50-floor hotel and they were out on the balcony hanging over. My fear of losing them would trump my fear of heights. And so what you have to do is to position yourself to understand, in other words, what really matters to you. that will help you overcome your fears. Is it the fear of being seen? Is it the fear of not being able to communicate the way you would like? Or is it the fear of not being accepted? Whatever that fear is, there's always something greater to help you accomplish where you want to be. So as we begin to talk, I don't want you to be fearful. I just want you to be able to accept the places in your life that you aren't so sure of yourself, because that's really what fear is. Fear is the inability to be confident in a situation and looking at the potential of failure. And can I say to you these words? Fear is nothing but a tool to dissuade you from accomplishing your purpose. And so don't allow people to inhibit you from inhabiting the better you by accepting the you that you don't know. And here's what I mean by that. The best way to create a problem for you is this analogy. The essence of deception is distraction. And so many of us, the reason why we lose our focus is that we're distracted. The reason why we can't accomplish our goals, we get distracted. In other words, if you've ever been in a position where you want to accomplish something in life, and then things begin to bombard you, and it takes your focus away from the thing that you were trying to do, that's the concept of distraction. And deception is used by whether it's you not knowing it in the moment that you're doing it to yourself because you're afraid of success. So you allow this distraction to be a deceptive move to get you away from that. Or if you are distracted because the people who are speaking into your life really hold value. And so what I would argue with you is if either one of those are the case, the first I would ask you is, why do you give people more power than they've earned to distract you from your purpose, or to deceive you into believing something about yourself that may not be true? Because just because someone says you can't doesn't mean that's not true. It doesn't mean that it's true. What it means is that that's their opinion. So why would you give their opinion more credibility than you feel about yourself? So don't let things or people distract you. The second thing I'd like to ask you is, are you distracted easily? How much does it take for you to lose your desire? Matter of fact, I've been this kind of person in my life at certain points. So if this is you, I'd like for you just to smile when I say this. There's been times in my life where I've had or felt like I've had a lot of success, and I start looking for something bad to happen because I feel like there's just no way this thing can keep going. There's something bad's got to happen. There's just no way that something bad isn't going to happen. That's a distraction. That's deception. And that deception was created in my situation by me because for some reason I didn't want to achieve the next level of where I know I'm supposed to go. So what I'd like to say to you is, listen, don't let anyone rob you of your future. If you're going to not succeed, let it be on your terms, not on someone else's. The next that I'd like to propose to you is, I guess it would be something that I'd like for you to truly internalize, is how easy is it for you to commit to something and then become uncommitted? How easy is it? And so for some of you, you'll relate to this very well. If you've ever been in a position where you know you wanted to lose weight and you had great intentions with wanting to lose weight, you had put out this plan. Matter of fact, you bought the keto diet and you did the Jenny Craig or whatever it is. You had the great intentions. You really wanted it. But then when you got into it, you realized, wait a minute, this isn't what I was expecting. Or wait a minute, this is not how it's supposed to happen. So the question that I need you to answer for yourself is, do you create false expectations for yourself? Because a lot of us fall short. And again, that falling short was within ourselves because we create false expectations. And so this morning, I'd like to challenge you to say, learn to be realistic and honest, not only about your circumstances, but about the things that you can accomplish with the help of people and without people. The next thing I'd like to challenge you and try to help you to grow and figure out, do you know who you are? I think this one really personifies how I see myself. And that's this statement. Bad times will reveal the sincerity or your convictions of who you are. Bad times will reveal the sincerity or convictions of who you are. So if you want to know who you are, look at how you respond in times that are bad. And going back to last week, when you do that, I want you to remember Habakkuk and change your perspective. You remember, build a tree house, go to the top of it, then look down on your circumstances. And what do you find? You find that they look different. Why? The only thing that changed is how you began to look at it. So begin to look at your situation differently. The next that I'd like to help you understand about who you are is being angry while you make decisions limits your choices. So learn to get your emotions under control when you have to make decisions. Because now listen, whether you're angry or even whether you're happy, both sets of emotions, they limit what's available to you. So you need to be able to find the balance of who you are when you make decisions. Don't be too happy and don't be too angry. But somewhere in the middle, find the ability to assess your problems in balance. The last and most important for me that I hope helps you is find people to surround yourself that are as committed to being better people as you are committed to being changed. And those things will begin to give you the perfect format for your life to change, for you to find growth in the areas of your life that you would desire to be. And most importantly, learn to be acceptant of who you are and who you're not. Because at the end of the day, all that matters first is how you see yourself. What someone else thinks is secondary to what you believe about yourself. Thank you for spending time with us today, and we look forward to speaking with you next week.